Hello, welcome back to the survival world. In the last episode, I built a bunch of farms and left those projects unfinished. In fact, in this shot right now, you can see 3 of the farms that we built. And since the last video, I have gone ahead and completed the sheep farm that you can see behind me. In fact, a sheep just got sheared just then. This was quite the task to do. I did this earlier today. I had to create a massive road of cobblestone all the way from the other side of the world. I got some sheep from the wild, but then I had to resort to getting some all the way out of my sheep pen, but it was worth it. I got every single sheep, and even though you can't tell when they're sheared, they are all dyed their respective colours, so I have every single colour of wool getting automatically sheared right now. So I just have automatic wool whenever I'm in my base now, and I even have almost 3 stacks of wool here, which means to begin this video I can finally say that this project is going to be finished today. So I am using light matica here again for this specific build, but as you can see, it's not that much wool I needed, but it was just too much for me to just sit there and AFK at the old sheep farm. But now the one I have here will just be running all the time whenever I'm in my base, which is kind of what I want. In future, I may implement some kind of off switch to some of these farms, because as I build more and more farms, it might start to get more and more laggy around here, and if I don't want some of them running all the time, I could implement a off switch. This build uses a lot of signs here to act as the kind of like supports around the outside. They're kind of a bit tedious to place, aren't they? You kind of gotta just inch along here, and yep, that sometimes they go in the wrong place. Since the last video, the Minecraft Live has been announced. I'm quite excited for what they're going to potentially announce in that. We've had a little bit of a sneak peek on what the next mob vote might entail. And I'm overall just quite excited for this game again, just to see where the updates will go. I know there's a lot of discourse around the updates and whether they're good or not. I personally have enjoyed the most recent Minecraft updates, and people make arguments that it's not enough. It's the highest grossing game of all time and they should be doing more. And I do get those arguments, but personally, you've paid for the game once. You paid you pay like £10 or $10 for this game, and the dev team is dedicated to giving you free updates for that one-off payment. So personally, I have been enjoying the content updates recently. Obviously, I would love it if they were bigger. I do think the features that they have added have been really good. The new building blocks, and of course, some people aren't interested in building in this game, so I get that some of the updates might have felt a bit lackluster to someone who isn't into building or, constructing pallets and stuff in the game. I've seen a lot of speculation that the next update may be a end update, and I think that is very likely, personally. I could do an entire video discussing this new update, honestly. I would really love to hear your thoughts on what you would want in the game. New updates, new creatures, new animals, new biomes, what you think they could be doing differently, or what you think they could be focusing on more. Anyway, after that ramble about Minecraft Live and the new updates and stuff, the balloon is done. I can officially call this entire build done. It's been kind of unfinished for a while now, but it is now complete. It now makes sense. It is now not just mysteriously floating here. I think before we get on to some more of the major builds today, I would like to add one more thing to this build behind me. I would like to add more of a connection between the main base island there and this platform here. And to do that, I think I want to add a series of little jumping platforms that kind of go from here on the base, just kind of along this stretch of air here, and end right in front of the door here. And I think I also want to add some kind of platform maybe coming off the edge of the base as well. Let's jump into a short little time lapse here to show the progress of this build, shall we? There we have it. I really like these platforms. It's a small little detail, but I do like the style I've kind of built them in. We've got these little points at the bottom here, almost like they're made of some kind of new technology that allows these things to float. I like this platform here as well. It just adds a little bit more onto this main base island, and just, gives a little bit of connection between this platform here and the main island here. I think things like this make the base feel a lot more cohesive as a whole. Sometimes it is the small details, the smaller builds that really elevate your world. I have a really cool design in mind for this island. As usual recently, I have not been planning these islands out at all. I've kind of just been winging them, and they have genuinely turned out great. I think just to make this a little bit more compact, I'm gonna slightly redesign the chest system here. I think I can just make it a little bit more compact. If I have the first double chest on this level here, it just makes it a little bit more compact and makes it a bit easier to build around. Ah, that just exploded. I think for now, it's not generating too much, so I'll just leave it with 2 chests. You've seen me build these islands quite a few times now. It's gonna follow a very similar process, so let's jump into a little bit of a montage for this one, shall we? I started by building a sort of wireframe around the farm, just to gauge how big I wanted this island to be. And then we go ahead and connect the different wires of the wireframe together, and then begin filling in the gaps in a natural way. A lot of this building technique is just turning my brain off and just building something that I think looks natural. Then I wanted to add a little bit of a pond on top to match the island that was next to it. Then we're replacing some of the dirt on top with moss, and also I left some of the grass in that naturally spread from the sheep farm itself. There we go, we have the beginnings of this island here. Not done yet, does need a few finishing touches, including a light blue carpet apparently. I've filled this chest up with some wool from the farm, I think it makes sense. And I've got a few ideas in mind of things I'd like to add to this. I would love to put in like a covering here, like a pergola type thing. And I'd like to show you a really cool technique you can do with carpets here. Of course, you can put them on top of the fences like this, but you can't then put them on top of nothing. But if you use a piece of string, it allows you to place the carpet. It looks like that carpet is just floating and it creates a nice little like thin covering there. If we just place in all of these empty spots the string, it will allow us to place the carpets on top of them. So I kind of wanted this island to have like some sort of tailor's station on it, or somewhere that a textiles person might spend their time. I was trying really hard to search up like reference images for this type of thing, but I just couldn't get the right words. Like I was searching up like textile shop or dye shop, and I couldn't really find the right reference photos for this, so I'm kind of just winging this build. And this is purely for show, but it will add a little bit of life to this island. Maybe along the back we can put some looms. Here I can add a few barrels as like a storage thing, so this is where the person would store all their materials to craft stuff with. Maybe an extra barrel on top. I wonder what the crafting table would look like in the middle of that. I do like that. It has like the little like shears on the side there. I will grab a couple of item frames out of here, maybe a couple of paintings as well. And oh, check this out. This is my iron chest now. On top of one of these looms, I can add some shears in. I think it would be really cool on this island to just have a bunch of banners hanging everywhere. Can you hang them on fences? Oh, you can. Oh, brilliant. I think you can even do that, right? Where you have 2 in the same thing. Yeah, that is cool. If you look closely, they're technically floating. They don't attach properly. Just ignore that, okay? You just gotta look past that little detail. And I think kind of maybe spreading some carpets around, like they're just kind of like some cloth that's been discarded around here could be quite cool. Like, you know, just kind of, they've kind of just left the materials that they're using kind of strewn over the place. I like that vibe. Honestly, I love doing this detail work. It's probably one of my favorite stages of building. Maybe like some kind of drying rack or something could go over here. Kind of going for a birch vibe here. And then, yeah, we can add the banners on there. Like they've kind of been put on there to dry. I dug out a little hole here, which is because I want to put some water in there. So let's grab some water. The only slight issue with this pond is that I can't make it any deeper than this. It can only be 1 block deep, simply because the farm is right below this block here. I'll add a little seat here as well in front of the workstation. Oh, that is nice. That is a lovely little detail. A similar trick that you can do with these carpets here with the string, you can do with the sugarcane. If you place a string on top of the sugarcane when they're in the 1 or 2 stage here, you can actually prevent them from growing. So if you want to keep them in a certain like height level, you can use string to do that. And of course we use string because it is practically invisible. One thing I don't have that I would love to add to this build is the small drip leaf block, and that is a limited quantity block. You cannot farm that in any way, so you actually have to go out to a moss biome to be able to farm those, and I believe there is one somewhere over here in my jungle. Head down this really quite stable and not at all weird staircase that I've made down to this lush cave biome. It totally doesn't mean breaking your ankles like 30 times on the way down. There we go, we're in a lush cave now. I believe somewhere here I maybe have dug a tunnel to another part with the water. I remember there being some kind of place with a load of water and there's a bunch of those small drip leaves like somewhere in this direction. I'm just gonna dig until I find something. Oh, hey, diamonds. Oh, cool. Not what I was looking for, but I will always take some diamonds, yes. Oh, hey, yeah, opening. 4, 5, yes, this is exactly what I need. I will just... I thought I had my shears selected. Okay, I'm gonna get 4 now then. Oh, I thought I had my shears in my hand. Okay, we have 4. I really wish you could farm these in some way. Or maybe they could add in a villager that trades for them. I know you can trade them with the wandering trader sometimes, but that's not the most reliable. It would be cool to be able to trade for them with maybe a new villager type they could add. They could add like the gardener villager. All that for 4 drip leaves, but it will definitely elevate this. Adding these will actually add a little bit of verticality to the water, so it's not just like one flat thing. Just adds a little bit of extra life there. And now for a finishing touch, I will add in the seagrass. That is nice, a nice bit of animation down there. It might be cool to add another bridge between this island here and this one here at some point. That could be a nice addition. But I think a really cool addition that would make this archipelago of islands look really, really cool. An island kind of further up here and a few other ones dotted around. And I want this one to have a waterfall falling from it into this island to kind of add to that sense of verticality in this base. A lot of the stuff in this base is on the same kind of level, but I would love to start adding a few more different height stuff here that really like emphasizes that this base is split up among, you know, different levels of the sky. Let's jump into a really short time lapse and I will show you the building process of this new island up here. There we have that little island as an addition at the top there. I do love that. I love how it kind of adds to the verticality, as I was saying before. So I wanted to try and play around with a few more of these interesting little concepts you can do with floating islands. You know, having one that's kind of broken off up here, trickling down the water into this pond here. And then I also added a little waterfall going off the side down here somewhere. So it kind of just continues the flow down. I really like that. Oh, I'll just grab all them and do a covert maneuver here to get the water into the hole. Boom. Oh, skill. That was pure skill. I have a little bit of detailing work to do on the bottom here. I've got to add in the rest of these dripstone bits and just texture the whole thing, but that can be an in-between episodes thing. We've got a little trapdoor here that leads into the actual sheep farm, and we can check the chest here for all our wool. Oh, lovely. Next up, I would like to create another farm in this little section of the world here, because it has a similar build style to these farms, and this will be a creeper farm. If you're a true OG, or if you've seen some of the previous videos, you might know that I do actually have a creeper farm all the way over here in the jungle. One of the first projects I did was this cool Aztec temple here with a creeper farm inside it. The only problem with this is that it's really far away and I have to intentionally AFK at this farm for it to actually run. And thinking about it, these pillars actually have some design similarities with the whole Aztec thing over there. Maybe if I did some more stuff over here, I could actually work in some of that Aztec design into this area. Before we go ahead and build that though, I will just show you that I fixed the iron farms. Both sides of this are now working, and I've also modified the design a little bit so the golems don't get stuck in the walls anymore. The water is constantly pushing kind of outwards. They'll get pushed out of the wall by the water stream. It kind of pushes them, as you can see, in this direction here. The other problem we had is that golems were not spawning on this side of the farm at all, and that was simply fixed by replacing this villager. Yeah, there was one casualty involved with this. I might memorialize this villager by putting his head on the side of that. The rates from last time are now basically doubled, and I mean, yeah, while I've been building today, they have been cranking away. But yeah, this is just brilliant to have these farms so close to the base. They'll just be cranking away at all times, and I'm gonna have a very, very good iron supply here. The next thing I want to do is build the creeper farm over here. I think I'll build the farm first and then build the build around it. So let's go ahead and get that first step done, shall we? There is the farm. It looks pretty cool in its kind of unfinished state here, doesn't it? I do like how farms look. I understand why some people leave them like exposed like this, because yeah, they can look quite cool. So the farm is pretty much entirely done now, and if we look in the chest here, it's been producing as well. It's a little dark, but on the inside here we have kind of the 4 different sides of the farm where the creepers can spawn, and I've built it in such a way that the water comes out but it alternates, so there will always be some space for creepers to spawn while the other creepers are being pushed off. They'll get pushed off here with the water streams and fall into this lava pit, and their items will be collected by these hoppers down here. And it simply uses a hopper clock here, or a etho hopper clock I guess is what some people call these. You can turn it on and off with this switch here. That basically just cuts the redstone line from the hopper clock so the farm can actually be switched off. Right here is the AFK spot for this farm, or at least where it will be eventually. In a second, these 2 guys should get pushed off. Yep, there we go. And another one. I didn't originally intend to do this little showcase segment of the farm here, but there's been a little bit of a change of plans. I had planned to build the build around this thing today. I, again, have overestimated what I can do in a week. They are now getting released every 2 weeks because I don't want to burn myself out with them, and, you know, life happens. I currently don't make money off these videos, so, you know, it's still kind of a hobby for me. It's almost like the last video where I left it on a bunch of loose threads, but at least we have more projects going on for the future now. If you would like to help these videos be a little bit more sustainable and help me be able to make these better, feel free to donate on Ko-Fi or subscribe on my Patreon. Both of them would help very much. But thank you very, very much for watching. Oh, the world is expanding so much. I'm just loving the new additions we're making every single episode here. Thank you very much for watching. Remember, Patreon is a thing, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.